We will be doing many such sessions right now, focusing on introducing Web3 to people. So let's start with the session. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I guess. All right. Yeah. Thank you for that intro, guys. Awesome. So, what's up? What's up, everybody? How's your weekend and everything? Um, yeah. Uh, yes, Adarsh. Just give me a second. Let me just share the screen. Can I share the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can share this.
Uh, all right. Yeah. So yeah. What's up, guys? How's your weekend? How's your Saturday?
It's been great.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, welcome to Web3 Unveiled, hosted by Central DAO and Metaschool. I mean, it's really great to be part of this community. As mentioned, it's one of the fastest growing communities. Like Central DAO is one of the fastest growing communities in India. So it's great to collaborate with them in such a fun way. So awesome. So before we kickstart the whole session, let me ask you, like, where are you guys from? Like all the I see a lot of participants here. So just tag your cities in the chat. Like, where are you guys based on, or are you guys working students? Just tag all that in the chat. Let's see where our crowd is from. Mumbai, Nagpur, nice. What about the rest? Bhopal, Vadodara, okay. I think we have a bit of pan-Indian crowd here. That's nice. Awesome. So myself, I'm from Kerala. I'm from Kochi. So yeah, nice to meet you all. So this is great. So yeah, I guess as a first order of business, I'll just give a basic intro of what I do here. So as already mentioned, my name is Seturaman and I work for Metaschool. And when we look at Metaschool, it's basically a platform that helps you onboard onto different Web3 ecosystems, right? Like that there are different protocols, there are tools, there are a lot of things happening in Web3, and Metaschool is a Web3 edtech platform that helps developers, both beginners and advanced level people to onboard onto different ecosystems. So you can just go to our platform and get started with any of the protocols that you like, and we'll just help you on the way. And as a developer relations engineer, it's my job to make sure that you guys have a pretty easy transition, right? So let me ask you this: like, how many of you are pretty familiar with Web3? Like those who know their way around Web3, like those who are let's say moderately familiar with Web3, or are you guys completely new to the whole thing? Intermediate, that's good. Okay. What about the rest? So we have intermediate people, beginner, new. That's nice, right? I'm not. Nobody is judging here. I just want to see, new. Okay, Manav, others, nice. So yeah, I guess like it's all about like the whole point of Web3 communities is to help you guys get started, right? So I think we have the right crowd here. So awesome. So let's get started. So before that, let me just ask you guys this: any idea on what this is? ये देखो Saturday को graph लेके आ गया. I guess most of you guys will be thinking like, but any idea on what this is? Have you guys seen this chart, or have you guys heard of it? No response. Come on, guys. We are part of one of the biggest, Web3 communities. Trend, yes. Yes, it is trend. Yes. Can we go a bit more in depth? What trend, or what's the name of the graph? Okay, so this is what is called the Gartner hype cycle. Okay, so there is this company called Gartner. You can just check it out. So this is a really interesting graph because it talks like as 19345. I mean that's a cool tag. but just introduce us to your name so that it'll be easy, right? But anyway, so this graph, what it does is it actually shows you the trend or the path of a technology. Okay, so this Gartner, these guys actually do a lot of research and analyze a lot of up and coming technologies, and every year they give out these graphs that basically gives you an idea of where a particular technology is at. Okay, you can see that there are a lot of familiar technologies like 5G, Edge AI, 4D printing, and all those stuff. So this graph, as you can see, it has 5 sections. All right, there is the innovation trigger, peak of inflated expectation, trough of disillusionment, slope of enlightenment, and plateau of productivity. So what this graph represents is basically different stages of technology adoption. Right, that it's it takes time for a technology to actually become mainstream. Right, so this graph basically breaks down that whole process, and it tracks each technology, and it says like where that particular technology is at. Right, so innovation trigger, this area right here that you see, it's basically that initial point of contact, like people are just introduced to this technology. That is basically what we call the peak of inflated expectations, because people they got their hands on this new technology. Now they just want to apply it everywhere, right? To curing world hunger, to all those kind of things. So that is the whole area of peak of inflated expectations. Now after that comes a stage where people actually understand that this particular technology is not a universal solution to everything, right? There are applications where we can use this technology, and there are applications that we cannot use this technology. So that is where we get that that is basically the whole idea of trough of disillusionment, meaning people realize that there are a particular set of things that this technology is good at, and then there are places or areas where we can't use this technology. And after that comes the slope of enlightenment, meaning this is where people actually realize the potential of a technology. Right, after the hype dies down and after all the fluff projects dies out, people actually start picking up actual use cases, or use cases that actually provides value, right, with that technology. And that's the whole idea of slope of enlightenment, where people are enlightened regarding the use cases and stuff. And after that comes the plateau of productivity, meaning mainstream adoption. So I mean, you can look at any given technology. I'm not talking about Web3 or anything. You can look at any. Zoom in the slide. Okay, let me see. Can you guys see that better? I don't know if the.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, so these, like every technology, as I said, like every technology goes through these stages. Okay, I'm not talking about one technology in particular, but you can see that there are a lot of technologies mentioned here, and you can see that some of them are represented using that yellow triangle, some of them are represented using that blue dot and stuff. So this basically represents the number of years it will take for a technology to reach mainstream adoption, right? For example, if you look at 5G, you can see that it is represented using a light blue dot, which means it will take 2 to 5 years to get to this mainstream adoption. So this is something really interesting, because these guys, when you look at the graph, you can see the latest trends and where they're at. Now, this particular graph, right? This particular graph is of 2018, right? August 2018. They released this graph during August 2018, and you can see that there is this particular technology that is of interest to us, like blockchain, right? And it sits right at the edge of peak of inflated expectations and the trough of disillusionment. Meaning, people were hyped about this technology, like those who know, those who have been with, or those who have heard of Web3 back then knows this. Like during that whole 2017, 2018 period, people were going absolutely crazy with blockchain. Right, they were trying to apply it for each and every use cases. A lot of NFTs. I think the whole CryptoKitty. A lot of stuff, a lot of crazy stuff was happening around Web3 during that time. So during the release of this graph, you can see that blockchain is sitting quite at the edge of that peak of inflated expectations, and it is about to enter into that phase where people actually drop off a lot of fluff projects, right? So this is a graph like that's 6 years old, right? So now that we are in 2024, almost 6 years down the line, and here it says that blockchain will reach mainstream adoption in about 5 to 10 years, right? According to the graph, blockchain will reach the plateau of productivity in 5 to 10 years. So let me ask you this. Like I see that a lot of you guys are starting out in Web3. So what have you guys heard of Web3? Like what are the buzzwords that you have heard about Web 3.0? Use the chat, guys. It's all free. Like this is not a lecture session, this is just a conversation. So feel free to use the chat. What have you guys heard about Web 3.0? What are the buzzwords? What are the first things that come to your mind when you hear about Web 3.0? Absolutely blank. Decentralized. Okay, there we go. Metaverse, NFT. Okay. Anything else? Don't just keep those thoughts coming. The crypto. Yes. I was wondering why nobody's saying crypto. Anything else? Bitcoin. There you go. The OG. Right, Manav? Is that it? Like crypto, Bitcoin, NFTs, Ethereum. Okay. Meme coin, Dogecoin. We like you guys know Web3 very well. I think this covers the entirety of Web3, right? Solidity, smart contracts. Okay. Hyperledger. Oh wow, we have people who have worked on Hyperledger. That's nice. DeFi. There you go. Rust is pretty new. Like when you look at the whole Web3 trend, Rust is pretty new. So yeah, good. I mean that's a good buzzword right there. All right. So the thing is, like, does this cover everything? I mean, you guys have mentioned a lot of things here. So I guess, we have Bitcoin, Ethereum, NFTs, meme coins, DeFi, and he who must not be named. You have everything, right? So does this cover everything that you guys have heard of Web 3.0? Or is there something else that you would like to add to the list? Anything that you'd like to add to the list? I think I haven't added dApps here. So yeah, that's there. Anything else? Come on, guys. I mean, SPF. Yeah, that's he who must not be named. I mean, I don't know why I added that picture, but yeah. Anyway, so any other stuff that you would like to add to this list? See, so when it comes to Web 3.0, these are the things that you have heard of, right? But here is the lesson number one. See, all the things that we have talked about so far, it's not Web 3.0, it's actually Web 3. Right? It's not actually Web 3.0, it's actually Web 3. So what's the difference there? Like we talked about DeFi, dApp, Rust, all these kind of, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all those kind of things. But the thing is, those are all part of Web 3, not Web 3.0. So what's the difference there? What is the difference there? That's actually the lesson number one. Any idea on what the difference is? Like you guys mentioned a lot of very valid terms, okay, but they are of Web 3 rather than Web 3.0. So what's the difference there? Guess, guys. I mean, everybody is learning. Like I said, maybe the decentralized part, maybe. Like I said, this is not a lecture session; it's a conversation. So you guys feel free to use the chat and just guess away. Right. So what is the difference? See, in order to understand the whole thing, you need to know a bit about the history of internet. Right. The thing is, internet. When you look at internet, it went through various stages or phases. Okay. Any guesses on what those phases are called? Like accurately speaking, it went through 3 different phases, or 2 to be accurate. Does anybody know what are the names of those phases or versions? Yes, exactly. Right. See, when you look at the history of the internet, we have, it all started with the web version 1.0, right? Then we have version 2.0, and currently we have web 3.0 and web 3. Okay, so there is that split in the branch, right? So all the things like the decentralization, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all those kind of things comes under the web 3 umbrella. So the question is, what is the difference there? Or let's just go over each of them. Right? What is web 1.0? What do you guys mean by web 1.0? Or web 1, or however you guys want to call it? Front end without interaction. Yes. See, yeah, web 1.0, or the initial version of the internet, it started out with static read-only websites, right? Then it moved on to web 2.0, bringing in more interaction and dynamic nature to the whole internet, meaning users can now interact with the web, right? So when you break down the history, this is what it looks like. So from the early days of internet, like 1980s till 2000, early 2000, we had static pages which has only read-only content, right? Meaning you can't do much with the website. You can just present information and the users can read it. That's web 1.0, right? Then you have web 2 or web 2.0, where which is currently ongoing. Like we are basically in that phase right now. And it basically involves the interactive phase of the internet, meaning users can provide information, they can read, they can interact with the components. It's more dynamic. The pages are not static. Based on the user interaction, the information in the pages can change. It can provide new information. People can interact with it. All those kind of stuff, right? So that is the current stage that we are in. And then, so when you look at web 3.0 and web 3, like these terms are used interchangeably. Okay, but there are subtle differences. Okay, I just want to clear that, because if somebody asks, like after this whole thing, if somebody asks, what is web 3 and what is web 3.0, you should be able to answer it, right? So the thing is, when you look at web 3.0 or web 3 in general, these represent two different ideologies when it comes to the next iteration of web, or the next iteration of the internet. Okay, just like how you had web 1.0 and web 2.0, you have these two different ideologies that talks about the next iteration of the internet, right? So with web 3.0, this particular web 3.0, or the semantic web, this is actually introduced by someone called Tim Berners-Lee. Any idea on who that guy is? Have you guys heard of this person called Tim Berners-Lee? Again, no reaction. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So this guy, so Tim Berners-Lee, yes, he basically invented www, or the World Wide Web, right? So according to him, according to his thought process, the next iteration of internet is what he labeled as web 3.0, where you have data or more, where you have a much more efficient internet that takes intelligence or data semantics and stuff like that, meaning your machine will be able to understand what is there in your web page. Okay, a bit of AI, a bit of semantics and stuff like that. So based from Tim Berners-Lee's perspective, the next iteration of internet is where you have much more intelligent and efficient system. Okay, that is web 3.0, or what we call the semantic web. Now you have web 3, or the decentralized web. Okay, now this term was coined by someone called Gavin Wood. Any idea on who that is? Gavin Wood. Does anybody know who Gavin Wood is? I mean, he has contributed something massive to the Web3 space. Google not fast enough. See, you guys have heard of Solidity, right? The language Solidity, like somebody already mentioned smart contracts and Solidity, right? Gavin Wood invented Solidity, or he created, he created Solidity, not invented, like he created Solidity. He was one of the initial founders of Ethereum. Okay, so his idea. Oh, okay, yeah, heard of Satoshi? Yeah. Satoshi is basically the guy who started it all with the Bitcoin white paper and everything, right? Gavin Wood was one of the co-founders of Ethereum. He also created the Solidity language, right? He co-wrote the whole Solidity language. So according to his vision, the next iteration of web should be something that is decentralized. Okay, the next iteration of web should be something that is decentralized, where there is privacy and an enhanced security. Okay, so when you look at Web 3.0 and Web 3, they represent two different views of the next iteration of the internet. Okay, where Web 3.0 focused on the efficiency, like Tim Berners-Lee basically envisioned a much more efficient internet with the use of intelligence and some data semantics and data interconnectivity and everything. Gavin Wood, or the whole Web3 tribe, they envisioned an internet that is a much more secure, where there is something called as data ownership, where you don't need a third party to control your data, and it is achieved through decentralization, right? So when you look at the core components of these things, like Web 3.0, it involves a lot of AI. And what is the core technology behind Web 3? So Web 3.0, when you look at that, right, they want to bring in intelligence and efficiency and stuff like that. So it relies on machine understanding, machine learning, AI and stuff. So what about Web 3? What is the core technology that that will bring in decentralization, data ownership, and stuff like that? Again, is there a buffer? I mean, whenever I ask something, it seems like there is almost a bit of a buffer there. So what do you think is the core technology that propagates this Web3 ideology? I'm sure you guys have heard of it. I mean, yeah, exactly. Right, just like how you have AI, propagating Web 3.0 ideologies, you have this technology called blockchain that brings in the whole decentralization and ownership of data and everything. Right, so this is the basic difference between Web 3.0 and Web 3. Okay, they are basically different iterations of the internet that is envisioned by different people, and Web 3.0 focuses on efficiency and data interconnectivity and stuff, and Web 3 actually focuses on decentralization and ownership of data and stuff like that. Okay, any questions? Any doubts? Any questions? I mean, it sounds like a bit of a lecture thing, but do you guys have any questions or any thing that you would like to add regarding any of this? Is it good? Okay. Anyway, so you have this whole ideology where the next iteration of web comes in the form of a decentralized place where it involves a lot of data ownership and stuff, right? And one of the core proponent technologies behind this ideology is something called blockchain. So what exactly is a blockchain? What do you understand, or what is the core idea behind this technology? Or what do you understand? What are your definitions of blockchain? Immutable. Okay, immutable meaning you can't change something. Okay, that's good. I mean, just a definition. You can use the mic if you want. Just immutable. That's it. Blockchain equals immutable. Is that it? You are the owner of the data. Okay, so these can be categorized as the features of blockchain, right? The question is, how do you define a blockchain? A distributed ledger system. Okay, that's a good one. It's a distributed ledger system. Okay, and how do you define, or how do you explain a distributed ledger system? A chain of blocks containing data. Yes. Okay. So since I think like a lot of you guys are just starting out, so let's just look at an analogy that will basically give you a mental model of what a blockchain is, right? So this is called the classroom analogy. Okay. And this is one of the most simplest analogies that I've heard that explains blockchain. So the thing is, think of a classroom, right? You guys are students, so you obviously know the whole vibe, right? So think of a classroom and just imagine that in that particular classroom, only the most studious kid, right? Only the topper of the class, he writes or he or she writes down the notes for the entire class. Okay, so this is a scenario where you have a classroom where the top, the kid with the highest grade writes down the notes for the entire class. What can go wrong in such a situation? Or do you guys agree to such a setup? I mean, it looks convenient. I know that it looks convenient, but how many of you agree to such a setup where only the like the class topper writes the notes for the entire class? Is it good? If the notes are wrong, everyone will fail. That's actually a pretty good one. Any other issues? Like, that's a very valid point by Tushar. Like, if the notes, if there is any mistake in the notes, everybody will fail because everybody is relying on that one notebook, right? Any other issues there? Centralized, yes. I mean, if that person wishes, he or she can just deny you the notes, right? So what is the full meaning of centralized? I saw that we have used the word centralized. So what does that mean? It is accurate, but I just want to know what you guys understand from that term called centralized. I mean, this whole classroom analogy, it represents a centralized system. So what does that mean? Any idea? Yes, that's it. See, there is one single organization or entity. Exactly. So that's the whole idea. Like there will be, so when you talk about a centralized system, there will be one single entity that controls the whole thing, right? So in our case, it will be the class topper, right? He or she will control the entire operation, meaning, they will write down the notes. They can choose whom to share it with, whom to deny those notes to. So they are in complete control of the whole system, right? And what are the problems in such a setup? Like, just think of the classroom. So we already mentioned that if the notes are wrong, the entire class can fail, right? What are the other things that that can go wrong in such a situation? Think of it like you are in a classroom where only one guy writes the notes. What if that guy takes a leave? Yeah, misinformation. Yes. What if? Yeah, I think the whole mistake thing covers misinformation, right? But yeah, think of a scenario where that guy takes the leave. One day maybe he had to travel. He or she had to travel somewhere, and just took a leave. What happens to the information? Exactly, right? It will, like, loss of information. Exactly. Or think of it like this: somebody from another class came in and just did that notebook apart, or did some scribbling in that notebook. Right? Again, will not be same. There will be a lot of information loss and stuff like that. Right? So now imagine our normal classroom. So this is our hypothetical classroom where there's one kid who writes down the note for everybody. Right? Now imagine our normal classroom. Right? In our normal classroom, optimistically, everybody owns a notebook. Right? Everybody has their own notebook. Right? Everybody has their own notebook and everybody writes down their own notes optimistically. Right? And now compare these scenarios. Now, in our everyday regular classroom, what will happen if one of the person takes a leave in that classroom? You have a classroom where everybody owns a notebook and everybody is writing their own notes. Okay, meaning the same notes are copied by everybody, or same note exists in multiple notebooks. So what if one person takes a leave of absence in that classroom? Any issues? Just imagine, like you are in a class of 30 people, you have your notes, you're writing the notes, and one of them, maybe one of your friends, who he took a leave, he's traveling somewhere, he took a leave. Does it affect the entire class? Yes, right? Or suppose one of your friends, lost their notebook. Does it affect the entire class? I hope you're understanding the point, right? See, a regular classroom is what you call, in terms of note-taking process, it is what you call a decentralized system. Okay, meaning there is no single entity controlling the note-taking process. Everybody owns their notebooks and everybody writes down the notes that they want, right? So even if one person fails to do so, it doesn't affect the entire class, right? Even if one person doesn't show up, he can always show up the other day and just copy the notes from some of his friends, because every single person in that classroom has a copy of those notes, right? So when you look at a normal classroom, you have a physical notebook, a decentralized physical notebook where you keep the notes in a distributed manner, or a distributed decentralized physical notebook where everybody takes down their own notes. Do you understand the scenario? That's our regular classroom, right? You guys are doing it daily, right? Everybody is distributing the same notes to their own notebooks, right? Do you guys understand the whole setup? So in such a scenario, since it's decentralized, even if there is one person, or even if there is a group of persons who take a leave or who spread misinformation, it doesn't affect the class as much, because there are everybody, everybody has ownership or access to the data via their notebooks, right? Blockchain works in the exact same principle. Okay, see, when you look at blockchain, it's essentially a network. It's not a network, sorry. It's essentially a way to store data, just like a notebook. Okay, just imagine replacing the kids in that classroom with computer systems like servers and stuff. And instead of notebooks, you have digital files or ledgers, right? And it won't be in a single geographic location. The whole computer system will be spread across the world, right? And just like how you take notes in the classroom, you have the same information that from that network spread across these multiple systems, right? So this is essentially the setup of a blockchain, or this is the core fundamental idea behind a blockchain. You keep the data distributed and decentralized across various digital systems or computational systems, right? And the benefit is that when you compare it to our first classroom, which is the same as a centralized database or a centralized repository, there is no single point of failure, right? Like even if one of those systems goes down, nothing happens to the data. The information is safe, right? And everybody can access or everybody has access to the data, meaning the data is completely transparent. People can know if it is manipulated, if it is missing, or if there is any misinformation or any of these kind of things happen. Everybody can know that because multiple copies of that data exists, right? The data is kept distributed and it is decentralized, meaning there won't be any single entity controlling the whole network. So this is the fundamental idea of what a blockchain network is. Like there are a lot of technicalities and stuff, but just to begin with, just to get a clear, just to get a mental picture of this, a blockchain, in a lot of ways, a blockchain network works just like a classroom, right? Just like how you take notes in your own notebooks in a classroom, you have a network of computational systems with these files that takes down the data from the network. So everybody has the same copy of the data, and everybody owns, like there is no single entity that owns that data, It's basically like everybody owns their own ledger, just like how everybody owns their own notebooks. Any questions? Any questions or doubts regarding what a blockchain is? Or did you guys get the whole fundamental idea towards? See, when we talk about a blockchain, we usually say that it is a decentralized, distributed digital ledger system, right? Now, based on this whole analogy, do you guys understand what all of these terms mean? Yes or no? Just give me a at least, let's say 70 to 75%. Like I know that it won't have the whole, like you won't get the whole picture unless you start building something on it. But just think of blockchain as this way to store data in a decentralized and distributed manner, just like how you do with your classrooms, or do in your classrooms. Any questions? Any doubts? Anything that you would like to add? If not, let's just move on to the whole what a blockchain really looks like. Again, it's a very simple analogy. Like I'm trying to avoid technical jargons because we have a lot of beginners here. So you can compare a block or somebody mentioned that a block is basically a blockchain is basically a block of chains or a chain set of blocks. Right? Not a block of chains, what am I saying? A chain set of blocks, right? So you can actually compare a block to that of a book, right? In your classroom, it's your notebook that carries your data. In a blockchain, these data is stored in a structure called a block. Okay, it's the name of a data structure in the blockchain. Okay, and just like how that in a notebook you write the notes in a page, and in a blockchain you store the data in these containers or data structures called the block, right? And that typically if it is somebody who regularly goes to the class, every page will be a continuation of the previous one, right? Every page in a notebook will be a continuation of the previous one, right? So just like that, every block in a blockchain will be linked in a cryptographic manner, like they'll be linked using just like the continuity in a notebook, you have these blocks linked to one another, okay, using something called cryptography, which is like a bit advanced math, but the principle is the same. Meaning, like in a notebook, if you tear off one page, that the notebook is not exactly. So in a notebook, like if you tear off a page, that the notebook is not completed, right? So just like that, you have this continuity system in blockchains too, using something called cryptography or cryptographic methods. Okay, and just like a notebook where all the pages are bound together to form a book, you have all the chains that are linked, or the blocks that are linked together to form the blockchain. So when you look at blockchain, it has the whole vibe of a classroom. Like it works basically on the same principles, and a block can be compared to that of a notebook. Okay, where you store the information. So this is just a very high level overview, just for you guys to get started on, or just for you guys to understand the basic picture of it. But yeah, like we can have other sessions where we can have a completely technical discussion on it. Since it's the first session, I don't want to throw in a bunch of jargons. But if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, feel free to ask. So this is the whole idea, right? So you have a decentralized, distributed form of storing data, which is immutable. Meaning, once you add this data, think of blockchain as this notebook where you write the notes with permanent marker or something, where you cannot just once you write it, it's there. You cannot change it. That's the whole principle of immutability, right? So so you have all these things. So it is decentralized, distributed, and all these things, right? So what it offers is, when it comes to the typical data storage process, what blockchain offers is a set of unique features, okay, which includes traceability. Traceability meaning, like I said, once you enter some data into a blockchain, it cannot be deleted, it cannot be tampered. Meaning everything from the very start, like in a network, every data from the very start till the current one will be always there in a blockchain. It cannot be tampered with. Unless unlike a database, you cannot just go in and tamper the data. It is always there, meaning you can actually trace where this data originates from, like all the way back to the initial one. Like if you look at Bitcoin, you can actually trace the whole first block of Bitcoin. Like when you look at the whole Bitcoin network, you can actually trace the whole thing back to the very first block. Okay, the Genesis block or the first block, and you can see where every coin was or who was the owner of every coin and everything. This traceability is there because the data remains immutable, and nobody can tamper with it. And there is obviously, since like we already mentioned, since it's a distributed and a decentralized system, there is no central point of failure. Meaning, if some hackers or somebody is trying to attack a blockchain network, if they attack one of these nodes, it won't affect the entire network. Meaning, it brings in a lot of security with its architecture itself. And there is also the cryptography and all those other mathematical stuff that provides an inherent security to the data. But just know that the whole decentralization aspect of it gives blockchain an initial layer of security, right? And auditability. So this means that since everybody has access to the data, everybody can verify it, right? Unlike the topper with the notebook that has all the notes, in a blockchain, everybody has access. Anybody who has the resources can get a copy of that data. Meaning the data is auditable to everybody or accessible to everybody, right? And there is no third party. Meaning, suppose when you look at any kind of applications like Web2 applications, there is always somebody who sits in between us, taking our data and giving us our service. Like for example, is there anybody who doesn't have a social media account? I know, I mean, it's a pretty silly question, but like everybody has it, right? Let me ask you this question. Are we paying for any of those social media services? I mean, it's weird, right? Like you have platforms like, you have platforms like Facebook or Instagram, where you post a lot of data, you share a lot of data and stuff, but we are not paying for any of these stuff, right? So how are these guys making money? Okay, yeah, see, yeah, exactly, see, they're completely free. Yeah, so the thing is, there is a very famous quote which goes like, if you are not paying for a product, you are the product. Okay, like if you're using all these like Google or any of these platforms for free, you're basically paying them with the data, right? Meaning these are third-party companies who takes your data and the instances where there is government surveillance, people are selling the data, and all those kind of things happen. So what blockchain does is it removes this whole idea where the central entity controls your data and do whatever they want with it, right? There is no third party. Like if you want to conduct a Bitcoin transaction, you don't need a bank to do it. You can directly send it to your friend. If you are running some kind of a decentralized app, you will only be interacting with the code. Okay, so that brings in like it eliminates, so the whole system of blockchain, it eliminates the need for a middleman to carry out the services. It's either the code or the blockchain. There is no middleman in between, or there is no human intervention in between. And there is a universal record, meaning everybody, it is like the blockchain data is accessible to everybody. Like I can go to the Ethereum network and find out all the transactions, or I can just trace all the data in the Ethereum network. It's out there, it's available, right? So you have a universal record. And so when you look at a system like blockchain, it brings in these kind of features with it, right? Like traceability, security, auditability, and stuff like that. General doubt, should newbies apply to summer of Bitcoin? I mean, do try. I mean, I don't want to discourage, but a little bit of research do help. I mean, Bitcoin is a bit more, I don't know, like the development in Bitcoin right now, they are bringing in a lot of tools and stuff to simplify it, but it takes a bit of an effort, to be honest. Like from my opinion, it takes a bit of an effort. But yeah, you can try it. No issues there. So yeah, so these are the core features that blockchain brings in, right? And based on these features, you have blockchain. You can see that blockchain is applied to a whole lot of different areas. Like, can you guys Tell me some of the use cases where you have seen blockchain being used like efficiently. Just give me some use cases of blockchain. None. Transactions, yes, like we already mentioned, like so the whole, like when you look at the whole history of blockchains, it was introduced to act as a parallel form of transaction, right? Usually you rely on banks and stuff for conducting transactions, and in 2008 when the whole financial crisis happened, that's when Satoshi actually released the white paper saying that, okay, we are done with the centralized banking and the centralized governance and everything. Here is a new parallel system of finance where you don't need a bank or where you don't need a government to control or control it. And that's how the whole Bitcoin started, and blockchain became a thing, right? Should be used in voting systems as well. I mean, it should be, but I don't know if it will be. Right? That's the most diplomatic way I can put it. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah. So transactions, voting. Any other anything other from this that you have seen where blockchain is used? You have e-rupee banking. Yeah, I think the transactions covers banking, but yeah, digital rupees, police stations. Okay, that's how in police stations. Do you mean the record keeping thing? Like how all the, oh yes. Again, with police stations and record keeping, it should be used, but I don't know if it will be used. Let's just put it like that. Healthcare, yes. Like even in healthcare, the thing is like the data of the patients, right? It is super sensitive. Yeah, yes, medical records are super sensitive data. So, like I said, the whole idea of Web3 is to bring in a lot of security and this data ownership, meaning the user should know what is happening to their data, right? That is the whole idea of Web3. So health records or medical records are actually a very valid case, like using, I think a lot of applications are doing that, where they are using blockchains for insurance and health record, maintaining and managing health records and stuff. Legal agreements, yes, that's true. I forgot the name of the company, but these guys are, I think they just had, I don't know, a couple of millions of fund in the, they just raised a couple of $1 million in funds, and they work on legal agreements. But one city has implemented to keep the records. Oh yes, I think was it Hyderabad? I think it was Hyderabad, right? Like I have heard, like they use something for land records and stuff. Is that what you're referring to, Tushar? Yes, yeah. I've heard of it. Yes. Yeah, that is also true. Like I said, so like we talked about the whole traceability, right? So land records and stuff, like you can actually use blockchain to provide easy access to the whole trace of property ownership and stuff like that. So the thing is, you have, like when you look at the initial or when you look at why blockchain was introduced, it was to eliminate the need of governments and banks in the whole financial sector, right? When you look at the whole 2008 financial crisis, a lot of reports stated that the major issue was that of the mismanagement of banks and very little oversight from the government, meaning not much policy securing the people's money. So that's why Satoshi introduced a new parallel that where it is completely decentralized and it doesn't rely on a bank or a government for handling transactions and stuff. So one of the core use cases, or when you are looking at a blockchain use case, it always means the removal of a third party or a centralized entity. Okay. So yeah, legal agreements, medical records, land records, all those kind of things. Recession, yeah. So there is to be honest, yes, there is a bit of layoffs and stuff happening in Web3 domain too. But I think it is sort of a ripple effect. But like recently, I saw that a lot of people are rehiring. I mean, we are slowly but steadily coming out of that phase. Yeah, that's something that I want to talk about. So you see that you have, like, when you look at blockchains, you have all these applications where you can use it to get rid of third-party reliance and stuff like that, right? And thanks to this new parallel, or this new, on a whole set of new use cases, you have, like, when you look at the top skills, like, these are from 2023. Like, when you look at multiple lists that talks about uh, the tech skills, blockchain is always there. Like, blockchain is always there in the top 10 list. Like, blockchain development or Web3 development is always there, right? Is it necessary for blockchain to be? Yes. I mean, peer-to-peer, it should be. Like, there is no client server kind of a setup there. Like, there won't be any access. So the transactions should happen directly. So the whole idea of peer-to-peer is, yeah, sure. So yeah, so yeah, I'm getting to that whole opportunities thing. So the thing is, so you can see that blockchain as a technology, because it can be applied in such a wide variety of use cases, people are looking for more blockchain developers, right? And this is like the average salary that you can get, like, based on the skills that you have, like, based on the area where you are at, you get quite a nice salary out of it, right? If you are good at it, or if you yeah, I mean, obviously you can make more based on your level of experience, but average, and on average you can make this is the salary range that you can make within a Web3 profession. And the thing is, it's not like uh, it depends, man. Like, remote work or on office, it depends. A lot of companies, I think, in Web3 are like embraces the whole notion of decentralization, and they work remotely. Like, for, like, yeah, I've been, like, for most of my career I worked remotely. So most of the Web3 companies actually promote that whole remote work, which is convenient in a way. But yeah, and like I said, so when you look at this blockchain technology, it's not just about development. Okay, like, the developer, blockchain engineers or developers are one thing, but the thing is, there is a whole array of opportunities there. It's not just Solidity developers or blockchain developers that they need. You have architects, like people who are good at networks, and who knows how to manage computing systems and stuff like that, or managers. And these UX developers are in high demand. The thing is, like, when you look at blockchain applications, there is always this connect to wallet, or some kind of things that might not be familiar to the general audience, right? So a good UX developer who can abstract all these stuff and create a more seamless application, it is actually in high demand. When you look at any company, they are looking for people who can actually make things easy for the general users, right? And you have legal consultants, meaning even legal consultancy in blockchain is a thing, because, like, a lot of countries are coming up with different regulations and stuff for blockchains, right? So people, like, there are people who are focusing on these laws, helping companies navigate the different regulations and stuff. You have analysts, you have traders. So it's like, when you look at the whole opportunities in Web3, it's not just limited to developers, right? It's a whole complete, it's an entire ecosystem. Meaning, it's not just run by developers. There are people who create projects, people who does UX design, legal consultants, analysts. So there is a wide variety or wide range of opportunities there. Even NFT artists is actually option there. Like, people who are good artists, I think they are like, people are looking for NFT artists, or people are good at finance, like crypto trading or finance, or financial analysis and stuff like that. So all these things. So when you look at blockchain or Web3 as a job space, it's not limited to developers. Okay, even if you have some other skills, or if you are good at something else, you can always transition to Web3, because, like I said, it is a complete ecosystem on its own, and it needs every part, right? It's not just limited to developers. All right. So yeah, any more questions around this? And as for the stack, I think so. The only, like I said, like blockchain, when you look at it, the only major difference is that like the only major difference comes in how you store the data. Okay, all the front end or all the stuff that you build on top of it is basically the same. Like all the front end web applications are usually built using React or Next.js and something. So the difference comes in the way that you actually store the data. You don't use a database to store the data in a Web3 application or a dApp. You use blockchain. So for that, you need to understand some of those languages like Solidity and stuff like that, or some frameworks regarding that. How to convince? Just give them the whole. I had some numbers. I think we are still. I think it's almost like it's going to be 20 years. And you have projects coming in, you have VCs spending the funds and everything, right? It has a potential, like that's the thing. So when you look at the current use cases or current stuff of blockchain, it's not as similar to the situation that we had around 2017 and 2018. Right, the number of fluff projects have actually reduced. Like people are actually using blockchain for its intended purposes, like document records or handling document records and stuff like that. So yeah, and people are seeing value. Like when you look at it, let me see if I could get the list of companies who are actively using blockchain. Like I think every major company I had a list. I don't know if I included it in the slide, but the thing is, a lot of companies, like many of them are using NFTs, many of them are using blockchains for record keeping and all these kind of stuff. So there is an adoption in when you look at it, and a lot of companies are a lot of countries are trying to implement CBDCs, like digital currencies, like central bank digital currencies. So it's not a direct application of blockchain, but it sort of brings in the whole notion of digital tokens and stuff like that into the mainstream. So yeah, I mean, it was I wouldn't say that it was like it had a good reception from the beginning till the end. But now people, like I said, I showed you the graph, right? So people are now actively looking for real use cases. Like, there were a lot of rug pulls and scams and stuff. But right now, when you look at the current startups or companies that are coming up, they are focused on real use cases. So that's how, like, people are putting in money, people are actually building stuff, and people are actually scaling it. So yeah, I mean, as with any technology, that's the proof, I guess, that there is a sustainable development going on there. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, when you look at the whole development phase of blockchain, it just replaces the database part. Yeah, the way you store the data. Exactly. So let me just look for that list. Oh yeah, there you go. There you go. Let me just share it. Yeah, so let me just so this this is a list of companies who are like currently using one or more DLT ledger systems, right? You can see, I think it's basically all the top things. Like I'm sure you guys have heard of all these companies, right? Like from Samsung, Accenture, all the way till Microsoft. They are in one way or the other, they are trying to implement or build stuff using blockchains. So yeah, I mean, this shows that, and I completely get your point. That there was a lot of hysteria, there was a lot of criticism and stuff, but right now it's not about the hype, it's about the usability. And it's like how I showed you in that graph. And now companies are actually coming up with actual use cases for it. So yeah. What point should we focus on to ensure Web3 internships and placements as freshers? Yeah, so the thing is, focus on, in a sense, like, again, basically depends on the kind of work that you want to do. If you are trying to be a developer, then focus on languages or focus on building smart contracts and stuff like that. So it depends on what career path or what opportunity that you're looking for in the space. So it's always like, if you're specific about the tech stack, it's I would suggest like the most used tech stack is node based like MERN and stuff, plus Solidity, which helps. I've seen most of the developers use that same stuff for building the front end, and for connecting and writing smart contracts. It's obviously Solidity. So if that's your focus, just have a fair bit of experience with all these technologies, and you're good to go as an internship. Outshine among the rest of the applicants. So for that, be very so to outshine among the rest of the applicants. I think Central DAO and Metaschool and places like that, they actually provide you an opportunity in terms of community collaboration. See, the best thing about, or the best thing that you can do to outshine others is to actually build and ship projects like that. A lot of people, like when you look at LinkedIn and a lot of places, like you can see people talking a lot about Web3. But when you look outside, like I don't know many people who have actually shipped things, or shipped things in Web3, like created their own or created their own projects, or worked on their own projects or stuff like that. So one way to directly outshine other candidates is to build your own projects, like something. It can be anything, but showcase that you have tried things on your own, right? Rather than a corporate project or a school project, just work on it, just do a bit of exploration, and make sure that all the things about Web3 is not reflected on your LinkedIn profile, but your GitHub profile. Make sure that you have that difference, right? How to be one of the best if one of DevRels in Web3. Okay. See, the thing is with DevRels, you should there is a very major misconception that DevRels is about like traveling to a lot of places, meeting new peoples and stuff. See, it does involve all that, but the thing is, being a DevRel at first, the thing is, you should actually be a good developer in order to get into developer relations. Okay, the whole idea of a DevRel is someone who acts as a bridge between people who build a product and people who use it, right? It's not just about marketing. It's not just about writing Twitter threads, or posting a lot of things on Twitter and stuff like that. You should actually be a developer, and you should actually understand perspectives from the developer side. Right, it's just sort of like a bridge. Like when you look at the technology and when you look at the DevRels, they are somebody who connects the engineers who build the product and the people who use it. They advocate the users' problems to the engineers, and help them come up with solutions and better the product. So it's not a marketing job. Like don't assume that DevRel is all about marketing and stuff. It's not. Like first I would suggest, like before you get into a DevRel role, make sure that you have your developer fundamentals set. Make sure that you are a developer first, and then try and understand the problems of the developers. And if you can present it, or if you have good communication skills and all those things, then you can try out DevRel. Okay, so the best DevRel is somebody who is a very good developer who also knows how to communicate. That's I guess the most simplified version of it. Like many people that I've met, like they are under the assumption that it involves a lot of travel and meeting people. No, like there is a community management side, but that's not DevRel. I mean, a DevRel should be a developer first, and then it involves a lot of research, development, and a bit of marketing. That's the whole thing. So you should like all the layers should be covered properly in order to be one of the best, as you said. Like you can look at a lot of these people. Like who's when you look at Web3, who do you think is the best DevRel? Like for me personally, it's somebody called Patrick Collins. Like you guys have heard of Patrick Collins, right? Like that big videos, like the person who makes all those big videos. Yeah, he's the OG, exactly. The thing is, he was a developer for these many years. Like he was a hardcore developer, and he knows how to communicate. Glimpse of a good Web3 developers GitHub. Oh, okay. I mean, if I share that, I mean, I don't know. It could like raise a lot of questions and stuff. But the thing is, just look for projects. Like, okay, I'll give you this. There is this project called Instadapp. Have you guys heard of it? It's a very yes. Just go through their GitHub. Like these, so Instadapp, if you don't know the story, in 2018, I believe this Instadapp, the whole thing was started during a hackathon, like the 8th India hackathon. Okay, two brothers started it. So I think the whole repo, the initial repo and everything is there. And right now, I think Instadapp is one of the most used DeFi applications in Web3. So that is actually a really good place to start, to see how they ideated, how they came up with the project and stuff like that. Right. So I would recommend just going through that story of Instadapp. I think the initial Git commits, their whole hackathon Git commits and everything is there. So that's a good project that you can look into. That whole journey is super cool. So yeah, I would recommend that. Or you can use Patrick Collins' Git repo itself. I mean, he is a good developer and or anybody. I mean, it's fine. I mean, no favorites there. Everybody who ships a project is good. So yeah. Anyway, so that's the whole thing about Web3. Like to be the best or to stand out among the rest, you need to ship. There are people who writes a long post in LinkedIn. It doesn't mean anything unless it is reflected in your GitHub profile rather than your LinkedIn profile. So learn and build stuff. I think that's how you can separate the fluff from the rest, right? People who can actually build is in high demand. So yeah, that's the general suggestion from my end. So yeah, so you have all this, but let me ask you this question. So we gathered here together today because of Central DAO and everything. So why should we be a part of a community? I mean, we can do all this alone, right? Why are you guys spending your Saturday evening, in a session that is hosted by Central DAO, that's hosted by Metaschool and all those things? Why in Web3? What is the role of a community? It's tough alone to learn. Okay, I mean, you can do this. Like you have to YouTube videos and stuff, right? But in why be a part of a community? See, the thing is, this is also a very big differentiator when it comes to Web3 and other technologies. Like you can look at any other given technology to gain experience. Yeah, see, the thing is, it can be AI, AR, VR, any given technology. There is always a company who pioneers that technology, right? You can look at any given up and coming technology, and there is always a company or an organization or a set of organizations that pioneers that technology, right? Who are the gatekeepers of that technology, right? But then you can look at all the major protocols in Web3, right? All the major Ethereum, Bitcoin, everything. Here, it is not a company that pioneers the technology; it is a community, right? All the code, everything regarding all the major protocols in Web3 is open source. You can find the Bitcoin code in GitHub. You can find the Ethereum core code in GitHub, right? None of them is run by a company. It is run by the community. So like I said, it is like Web3 is built around this notion of decentralization, right? So being a part of a community or understanding the community's ethos is actually quite core to being part of Web3 as a whole. Okay, it was not, like I said, it is not an individual effort, or it in Web3, like all the major advancements, everything that you see, like ERC20, from ERC20 or NFTs or all these things, none of them were actually proposed by a company. Everything came from a community. Okay, so a core tenet of Web3, like to understand Web3 or to be the best or to separate yourself from the rest, the thing is you need to understand the core tenets of Web3, which includes collaboration as a culture. Like I said, none of these things, none of the major protocols are run by a company. It is always community collaboration that moves a protocol forward, right? And community, like like when you look at any given Web3 protocol or anything, the success actually relies on a community and how they build or how they sustain that technology. Right, community is actually the backbone of Web3. A lot of Web3 protocols and products, and empowerment. Like I said, it's all about helping people, or helping the people reach a stage where they can own the data. Okay, it's not another technology just to make things easy. Okay, Web3 is not just about making things easy, or helping people build shortcuts, or easy technologies and stuff. It's about empowering people to own their own data, or have that data ownership. So, and in order to understand these core tenets of Web3, you need to be part of a community that propagates all this, right? You can learn a lot, like you can learn Web3, you can learn all these things by yourself, but you won't understand Web3 unless you're part of a community who does the same. Okay, this is where Central DAO or Metaschool and all these kind of communities comes in, right? So I guess it's almost, so that is it from my end. I hope thank you for joining in, thank you for your time. So if you have any questions regarding any of this, feel free to ask. I mean, I hope this session was useful. That you are basically spending your Saturday evenings here. So yeah, that's it from my end. So it's all about community effort. It's all about collaboration. It's all about building. Once you learn, just go out there and build it. That's how you can separate it. Yeah, you can I'm pretty active on Twitter, or you can join our Discord. Sagar, if you can provide the Discord link, that'd be great. You can join our Discord. We are always active. So yeah, that's it. And if you guys want to learn, like Metaschool, like next week we are having a build week, which is basically a week-long session where we're looking into this ecosystem called Sui. Right, we'll be teaching you a new language called Move on Sui. So it's a week-long, you can say kind of a boot camp where we'll take you from zero to hero within this ecosystem. So you can register for it. Yeah, sure. So my Twitter tag. It's Sedu_Raman_. But I will share it. Yeah. You guys can follow Metaschool on LinkedIn, Twitter, and everywhere, and do join our Discord. And I guess, like, if you want to register for Build Week, which, like I said, it's like a week-long boot camp where we'll be discussing a lot of technical stuff.